Hi, y'all. How's it going? We live here in Dallas, so we can say y'all. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but Levi and I are probably the only married couple who will be speaking at this event, so you're welcome for that. You can feel the tension between us on stage. It's palpable, really.
We always announce that first because when we forget to announce it sooner or later, I'll say something and you'll be like, that seems like a really awkward comment to make to your co-speaker. And so yes, we're married too. It's okay.
So here we go. We owned a company called Social Media Delivered for 10 years here in the Dallas area, which we sold a couple of years ago. So we know a couple of things about social media, digital marketing, video. We also know a couple of things about having a bunch of money and doing whatever we want in marketing. And by the same token, we know what it's like to be super broke. So I don't know if you are currently in a situation with your own company you're starting as a solopreneur, or you're working for a company that has a limited budget, or you're working for a startup that has zero budget. We're going to talk to you honestly about what you can do in video marketing and how you can do video right now, and we're going to be honest with you. So here is our disclosure. We own a company. The name is really original. It's EveMayerMedia.com, okay? It's a small marketing company that does video and consulting. And yes, if you have money and you need great video all over the world, professionally done, beautifully edited, we're really good at that. And we'd love to talk to you about it. But the truth is, if you don't have a lot of money, we also have a list of things you should just go buy somewhere and do video yourself. And we're going to tell you the truth about the times that you don't need to spend a bunch of money on video and how you can make decisions to spend less and get the most bang for your buck. So before I get started, we're going to ask for questions because I get super bored when we just do the PowerPoint and we're just droning on and it's like really lame. I'd like to hear what you actually want to know and just like throw it out there during this presentation. So we're going to bribe you with 2 of my books. Number 1, this book is a 10-year-old book on social media. I know, you're pretty excited about it. But if I sign it today, you will get 5 cents more on eBay when you sell it, right? All right, so that's going to happen. It's actually a pretty good book. This book is my book from 5 years ago on online dating, and it's kind of dirty, and I think you're going to like it. So if you want either one of these books today, you need to ask us a question, and the best question, let's see, what's your name? Sam is going to judge who has the best questions, and you win the books, okay? I've never met Sam before. She's unbiased. So let's get started.
All right, here we go. So, video marketing. Some of you in the room probably have a boss or an owner or someone in your life who's like, video, lots of money, doesn't matter, not important. So the first couple of slides here are for you to go back to the office and say, it does matter, and this is why. So, marketers who use video grow revenue 49% faster than non-video marketers. That could very easily be the end of the sentence you say to your boss. This is why we need to do video. But 51% of marketing professionals also name video as the highest ROI versus all other methods. So half of all marketers say video is the best return on investment, period. These are very compelling numbers. Social video generates 1,200% more shares than text and images combined. Looking to get your message out there. Again, on social media, getting it out there for free means you need people to share it. More people share video by 1,200%. And 59% of executives agree that if both text and video are available, they'd rather watch the video. You're going to hear this theme repeated as we go along. People would rather watch the video. We're lazy. It takes part of our brain out of the picture to just be able to watch the video. Tell me what I'm supposed to think. Perfect. All right. I'm in charge of all the numbers, so when you slide with a number on it, you get to hear me. Viewers retain 95% of a message when seen on video versus 10% when reading it in text. Remember like high school English class and you had to reread Oliver Twist over and over again just to remember the thing you were going to need for the test? Watch the movie, then you remember everything. Same thing applies here. Video is much more absorbable, and internet video traffic made up 69% of all traffic in 2017. That number is now closer to 85 to 90%. Video is everywhere. Everyone is doing it. If you're not, you're behind the curve. More than 80% of video marketers have seen the following benefits listed out here. All the things you're trying to do as a marketer.
So, increased understanding of product or service, increase website traffic, generate leads, increase length of visits on website. Let's say that some of you are struggling. You're at a B2B company and you can't explain what the heck your company actually does. It's not that sexy and you don't know how to explain it. You might need a video to do that. Let's say that you're at an interesting but somewhat kind of boring company and you still need to sell it to people. And you have very cautious bosses or executives who are nervous about it. I think this slide is a good one to show to them. We are tweeting out this presentation at LinkedIn Queen on Twitter, that's me, and on Nerd Butler, I think they're doing it right now. So grab the slides, we're going to put out the whole presentation, grab the 1 or 2 slides that you know will convince your executive to let you do the things you need to do with video.
And we'll talk a little bit more as we go along about what you should be doing video of. Most of us are marketers, so you're obviously doing marketing, but don't forget about customer service. Don't forget about product tutorials. What's the one thing that your customer service department has to answer over and over and over again? Have them do a video of it and put that out there. It's just forward thinking. It will help your customers understand your business better.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be fancy, even if you're a giant company. If somebody keeps on asking the same dang question on Twitter that you're answering on customer service over and over, get your best customer service rep to make a video with their phone answering that question in 30 seconds and tweet that out the next time that somebody asks a question. It's real and it's vulnerable and it works.
So these next 2 are actually from 2019, and these are 2 of my favorite slides. How would you most prefer to learn about a new product? More than 2/3 of everyone says a short video. I don't want a sales call. I don't want to read a blog post. I don't want to sign up for a newsletter. I want to watch a short, and short can vary depending on the industry and what you're talking about. But a couple minutes of my life to watch a video, great, then I understand the product. I'm not going to read through your FAQ page to find out what your company does. It's not why I'm here. Use my time better than that. The next one is, once I found something I like and I understand the product or service that you're offering, how am I going to tell my friends and family about this? Video, once again, almost half prefer video versus everything else. Not a social post, not forwarding a newsletter, not a blog post. They want to share a video because they know that the people they're sharing it with also just want to watch a video and be told what's going on. All right. This is that was all the 100 level why we have to do video, right? So the next step up is, how do we do good video or better video than we're doing? If you're not doing captions currently, please start. If you upload a video to YouTube or Facebook, the machines will try and understand what you're saying and they'll give you a caption file, but you can get captions made inexpensively and upload that file along with it, so it will specifically be what you wanted it to be, especially if you're in an industry with technical terms. If you're in the medical industry, absolutely get transcriptions done of your videos, because there's no way YouTube is going to be able to properly transcribe the name of a medication or the chemical formula for whatever it is you're working on. Average view time was 5% higher with captions, and it was watched by a few more people. But the average reach was 16% higher with captions than without.
We all want to believe that people are sitting there watching our videos that we've created with such care, with the sound on a big computer, on a big screen with rapt attention. They're not. They're listening to it on silent on the toilet stall next to the person at work, trying to be as quiet as possible, avoiding going back to their cubicle. Like, let's be realistic about what's really happening. So put a caption on it.
So Facebook's numbers, they don't put out lots and lots of analytics, but this is one they did. 85% of all video on Facebook is watched without the sound. However, they found that almost 3/4 of all the videos need sound in order to be understood. So if it's a beautiful B-roll stock footage of a train in the woods and mountains, it's either a beer commercial or a wellness company. And without captions there, you're not going to know which one it is. Professional captions. Now, we use Rev.com. They were in the news recently for basically gig economy malfeasance. So if you don't want to use Rev.com, let me know. There's another place I can send you. I love their product. Their services are great. It's affordable. It's still affordable. But get a service to professionally transcribe and make captions for your videos. It does not have to be expensive. It's significantly cheaper than you think it is, and it's going to increase the quality of your videos by quite a bit.
And it's $1 a minute. We can all afford that, right? We're all broke at times, but we can all afford that. It's worth it.
I'm going to go back real quick. I must have taken that bullet off. Captions are one thing, and you should get those and you should upload them along with the video upload you're making. If you also get transcriptions, which is just a paragraph form of your video, the average speaking rate is about 120 to 140 words a minute, me notwithstanding. I've had too much coffee. But that means that a 3-minute video is a 500-word blog post. So get the transcription as well and repurpose that content. You had the expert in front of the camera talking about whatever they're an expert about. Get as much content out of that one video as you can.
Levi's Twitter is @NerdButler, and he's really smart, and he has a way of talking about technology and telling me tools that like cost $0 or cost really little. And so if you have questions about this, follow up with him on Twitter.
All right, so we took 10 minutes to convince you that video is absolutely the most important thing you can do, and you can convince your boss of the same thing. Now, what do we do?
Okay, so let's say you want video. So like, I want to just, by show of hand, who feels like their company needs, whether you are or not, who feels like their company needs to be doing video? I'm just curious. And then keep your hand up if you have your executive support or whoever has the money or the time to get video done. Okay, not bad.
All right, so much like all of your other content, you're asking the same types of questions when you start this journey into video. What's the intention of this piece? What's the audience for this piece? Do we have a production budget? Do we have an ad budget to boost this? And then plenty of miscellaneous costs that go along with this, which will address all the components of this later. But this isn't that much different from all your other content planning sessions. The fact that it's video, it's a different medium, but that doesn't make it significantly different. Your messaging is still your messaging. Your brand colors are still your brand colors, but you need to go through the same process with video that you do with all of your other content. So Eve is really good at capturing attention. I'm going to let her tell you how to capture attention.
Thank you. Use brand colors, themes, and imagery. Be consistent with your brand to help people recognize that the video was produced by you. In other words, use really hot people, or use really smart people, or use really interesting people, or interesting colors. Do not put somebody I can't understand because it's not loud enough, or who does not speak well, or isn't funny, or isn't good looking. Like, give me one of those things. I just want one, right? And then I'll probably watch it. Now, if you can find somebody who's funny, good looking, and intelligent, I'm super in with that, right? I'm all for it. But you gotta start putting people on the video who are different, who are a variety of people, who look at things from a different way, just like your audience that you're trying to speak to. It can't just be, if you're at a small company, the executive of the company who says the same thing all the time and has been doing so for 20 years. Not everybody he's selling to relates to that person.
So just to yank the rug out from under us, she was talking about the people you need to put on the video. I played a video for you that has no people in it, but it's a combination of things. Find the right people to talk about it, but if you watch this video, notice that the color scheme is consistent with the company's logo, that the fonts you're using are consistent with the design guidelines provided by your design department or your designer or the freelancer that you hired to do that document for you. The consistency is important. Especially if you're doing video in-house, there's gonna be somebody there who has a notion of how to be really creative with video, right? Resist that urge. You have brand guidelines, stick to them. Do not be super creative with your video because people, again, is it a beer company? Is it a pharmaceutical company? I don't recognize those colors. That font choice was really odd, even though it's Halloween. Like, stick with your brand guidelines as you're doing this.
I did go off on a tangent with people, but I will disagree with you.
Uh-oh.
A lot of companies do not have brand guidelines. You are used to working with these giant companies, and let me tell you, like back in the day when you're with a smaller mid-sized company, there are no brand guidelines. The guidelines are what these people decide they are. So just make sure it matches with what the company looks like. And it doesn't need to be crazy professional. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. Match the colors, have it match the brand. But if you can't afford a giant budget to get like motion graphics done at the level you need to, have a short little one done, right?
Yep. Get a thumbnail that makes sense. If you're a YouTube user, you know that the thumbnail quite often has exactly zero to do with the video you watch. I would try and avoid that. But I used to sit there and try and make the thumbnails that I see on my favorite YouTube channels, which is the person, and they've cut out just the person and taken the background out and then put some really cool graphic behind them and then some words over here under my armpit that tell what the video is about. Go on Canva. The title slide from this presentation was done on Canva. Go on Canva, find a piece of free stock art that matches what you're talking about, put on some text, make that your thumbnail. You have too many other things to do if you're doing this internally to spend your time trying to come up with the perfect thumbnail. I would not let YouTube pick the thumbnail for you or Facebook. I would get a thumbnail that makes sense, again, with your logo on it or whatever, but make a thumbnail that's gonna make people click. That is your hook to get them into watching the video.
We should go faster.
All right, faster. Number 3, add movement to the first few frames. Movement, we're primal animals. We see things move and we
Well, you don't know it's a video if there's no movement. You just think
True.
it's a picture and you don't watch it.
All right. Try featuring a face in the first 3 seconds. My perfect example of this, if you're filming in-house and you just like, I don't know what to do, they're giving me all these guidelines, I can't figure it out. I want you to like have a person open the door, camera's right there, open the door. Hi, welcome to XYZ company. There's motion and there's a face in the first 3 seconds. Congratulations, good job. All right.
So what's the intention of the video? Is it for awareness of a brand? Is it to grab attention? Are you gonna launch a product? Are you gonna have information? Are you gonna have training and education? I want you to start with the purpose of the video the same way you would with a blog or a social post. I feel like so many times people are like, we need some video. Like, we just need some video stuff. No, like, what the heck are you doing with that video? Why are you doing it? Why are you spending time and money to do that? It should have a purpose that is gonna affect the business in some way. So I want you to understand, what is the purpose of this video?
All right, now let's talk about all the many different kinds of video that can be done. And this
I'll
is
take
where
this one.
$0 to how much money you got.
Not every company needs to spend money on video. There are times to do it. I think a video that's going to talk about your company or be of a location and you need to build trust or need to build a reputation and that video is going to last for a while on your website, it makes sense to spend money on that video. A video that's gonna go on social, that needs a lot of trust, that needs to do like an insider's kind of look at something, that's to get to know people at the company. I don't think you always need a company to do that. So it's okay if you have no money or little money. I still want you to use video. Low end, it's simple to do low quality but effective video on mobile devices in some situations. We're tweeting out a video that Levi has made that gives you a list of products you can buy, not from us, but products you can buy that's gonna make your mobile video better, right? If you got a phone and you don't have a camera at the company, then fine, use it. There are things you can do that make that better. Or mid-high end, you're gonna pick whether you want a location or a studio. A lot of companies that do video will work within a budget if you tell them what the budget is. Okay, just let them know. The logistics are going to need a lot of attention, but if you're in a studio, sometimes the cost can be surprisingly less because the environment's controlled. So that's something to look at. Other factors to look at: paid talent, if you're going the actor route, music license, B-roll, length of video, animations, editing time, paid budget. And dear Lord, if you're going to like spend the money on a studio, get a makeup professional, because some people, it's not a good situation the way they come in and look. Like, just fix it for them, and they feel really special when they get their makeup done. So do that.
All right, so let's talk about the DIY, like you're not doing video now or you don't have a budget and you're trying to just produce something that will convince the rest of the company that it's worth spending money on. So start with your smartphone, go into a quiet room with lots of natural light and just start filming somebody who knows what they're talking about. Like, start today, start this week, do it now. Otherwise it's gonna be New Year's and you're like, we'll do it next year, and then it'll be Valentine's Day. You're like, we should do a Valentine's Day video, and you still haven't done anything. Just start. As you begin to upgrade, there are some easy and inexpensive things you can do, which I'll go through rather quickly. You have a camera in your pocket. If you have a newer iPhone, a Samsung, I have a Pixel 2, which is a couple years old, but it still records 4K video, which is way more than you need for doing basic corporate videos. You have a phone in your pocket that has a camera that is good enough to do this with, all right? If you're gonna buy a camera and you're not willing to spend $1,000, don't buy a camera. You can find good cameras for less than $1,000, but have that number in your head. If somebody's like, here's $200, go pick up the best camera you can, your phone is better than what you're gonna go get and easier to use and will not require training and won't break down. And just, if you have $1,000 to spend, start shopping around. And I'm not a photographer or a videographer. I have no recommendations to make about which camera to buy, other than it's gotta be significantly better than the one you already have in your pocket. My phone cost $1,000. If you're not willing to spend at least that much on a camera, don't bother. Yeah, $500, waste your money. If you have a couple $100, we'll talk about what you can buy. So the first thing you want to upgrade is the sound, all right? If the video sounds good, people will forgive the fact that it was shot on a smartphone. So find a quiet environment, and then you can start looking for, Inexpensive microphones. So the two microphones I'm showing here are both from Rode. They both don't require power. They both plug directly into your phone, and they cost around 60 bucks. Please do not, this lavalier mic over here, you will find versions of this on Amazon for like 12 bucks. Don't buy that one. The microphone in your phone is better than that. If you're willing to spend 50 or 60 bucks, then start shopping around for something that makes sense. Again, don't go cheap on this stuff because it's not worth it. Your phone's already pretty good.
Yeah, but like I think 60 bucks is cheap, right? Like for some reason when you go to people and you're doing the video and you have the little lavalier mic with your phone, like suddenly you're like a professional and they're really impressed and the sound is really good and it was 60 bucks. So spend the 60 bucks, not the 12.
All right, lighting. Sunlight's free and it's awesome and it works really well. Watch a couple of YouTube videos on how to position the person so the sunlight gives you the best effect. If you want to go a little bit past that, lighting, once again, $100, $200, you can get more light than you could possibly need. Watch a couple of YouTube videos on how to set those up, but it doesn't have to be crazy expensive. Now you're halfway, a third of the way, to a studio, right? Good lighting, good sound. Editing software. You can, if you are really ambitious, do all of this stuff on your phone. I don't recommend that unless you are absolutely broke. Otherwise, go find some software and someone who knows how to use it. But in iOS or on a Mac, iMovie is free. Clips, I think, is still there. I haven't checked all of these lately. She just got an iPhone, so I'm going to get back into the iOS world here in a minute. On Android, PowerDirector and KineMaster are both perfectly serviceable if all you're doing is putting an intro, cutting out the stupid part at the beginning where you weren't looking at the camera, and putting the outro on it. It's perfectly acceptable. Mac, iMovie, and all the Adobe tools, and on Windows, obviously the Adobe tools, and there's Filmora and a bunch of others that are relatively inexpensive. You need somebody who knows how to use it, but if all you're doing is putting on an intro, putting on an outro, the end, then you can probably get away with this yourself. All right, let's say you do have a budget, like a real budget with a comma in it. We like those budgets.
So find a company that is going to be honest about your budget, right? Like I would personally go to anybody, whoever, and just tell them what the budget is. Look, I have this much to spend, or I have this like range to spend. What can I get for that? And then maybe compare them to another company and feel good about what's going on. Video can be very expensive, but it doesn't always have to be. You can consider how and why the video will be used. Once again, tell the video company what you're going to do with this so they can create it for that reason. And produce video with the end user in mind. So if you're producing it to primarily be on social media, it's going to look different than if it's just going to be on the website or if it's going to be on TV. And so you want to understand all of those things before you do it. Time, quality, and price, you get to pick two, right? Like that's what happens. If you want it cheap, then you're going to have to sacrifice in another area.
So we talked faster, but there's some things. I'm going to go back one just so that's up there because that was really dark. Couple things we haven't talked about. What kind of video should you be doing? And we haven't talked about live streaming video on social media yet. So
was that the last slide?
That was it.
Oh,
26.
awesome. Yay, yay.
So do you want to talk about live video?
I want to talk
and what
about
you do
live
with it?
video because I think that generally you still have an advantage with the algorithm on live video where the platform will put your video and get it more attention quicker than other, just video posted there. So I think Facebook Live is still a good place to be. If you can get approved for it, I think LinkedIn Live is really smart, especially for B2B companies, for recruiting. I would file that application because there's a waiting list for LinkedIn Live, both personally if I were you and you want to do branding stuff and for your company because it takes a period of time and they've still limited it, but eventually that'll open up. And the algorithm on LinkedIn with that is really powerful and people are getting a lot of views on that. I am not great with Instagram going live because I'm old, but I see a lot of people that do that, and I think that's a smart move to make. But I think we should go to questions because we got 6 minutes left, and we got 2 books to give away.
Sure. Questions, and we have a light right in our face, so jump up and down and
yes,
over
yes,
here.
ma'am.
Right. So you didn't get to a question. So I hope I understand what the question is going to be.
Go ahead.
Basically, do I need to create 2 separate files, or does Premiere, when I put the captions in the film, is it doing the same thing it's supposed to do on social media if I make
So neither of us are editors, but our editor is standing in the back. And so if you come up, he might be willing to answer that afterwards. But let's talk about the two different kinds of captions. The SRT file that you saw mentioned it's a text file that you upload to YouTube or Facebook or wherever your video is, and it's a companion file. And those are the captions that people see when they turn on closed captions. So they have to have explicitly asked to see your captions, right? So there's a timestamp and the words that are said. The other is it open captions or embedded captions. What you're talking about is I want to embed it directly in the video itself. And I have it on good authority that that's a chore. It's a worthwhile chore, particularly for certain kinds of videos where, again, if you're on Facebook and you have a 30-second video or you only have like 3 seconds of their attention span, having words right there on the screen, not that they asked to see, but like that you're hitting them over the face with, is important.
I think it's worth it. It's a pain in the butt. The editing time takes longer. So I would reserve it for important short clip videos that are like 30 seconds or less with an important message. And then I'd use rev.com and have the editing done, which is probably going to take like an hour for that 30-second video. But I think it'd be worth it. And then I would use it on every platform I'm on. Right? And then I'd also repeat that video later on in the process. So this just brings me to another point that I know we've been getting asked a lot, which is connected with this. How do I set up a podcast studio? And how do I set up a podcast? I'm not ready for video yet. I'm super freaked out. I need to lose 10 more pounds. My company doesn't want to be in front of people. I can't get anybody to be on video. Cool. That's awesome. If podcasting is a step into the video world for your company, we're actually going to put out a list of equipment to set up a podcast studio. Once again, just stuff you can buy that's really cheap, right, off of Amazon, to set up like a starter podcast studio that actually makes a lot of people at companies feel really comfortable and kind of cool. We'll also post a list of how to set up like a baller podcast studio too, if you got some bucks and you want to do it like really big. And then how to step into the combination of setting up that video studio with it. So I think there's a lot of times that people feel really comfortable. We have some podcasts on a variety of topics, and what we'll do is we'll put out the podcast, and a lot of people consume podcasts, and then a week or two later, we will release the video file, right? And so then people who only watch video, watch the video. People who only do podcasts, do podcasts. Then we can break it up into clips and use Rev and do the editing and have those little short clip videos. Remember back in the day when we were started writing blogs and then we realized we could just break up those blogs and create social posts? It's the same thing with video. We spent all this time making this video and doing really great work. We have to remember that video can be turned into a blog, can be turned into social posts, can be broken into pieces, can be a podcast. I don't know, but I'm thinking you're probably working too hard, right? You're probably creating all these different things, and it could be easier. I don't think that was a question, but I just wanted to say that, so thanks.
I'll go right over here next, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I've seen some lawsuits over the past year that make me more concerned, right? Around, do you have to have, so I would say Fortune 500 companies that we work with have certain stipulations around that they have to have captions or it can't be released. I don't see smaller companies getting into that much trouble yet, but I can see it coming where it serves people who are blind, it serves people with captions, it serves people who are deaf, and so I can see that coming. I don't think we're completely there yet where it's a huge worry.
And I think what's going to happen as they start, as some of this stuff rises a bit more and it sort of filters down the food chain to smaller businesses, YouTube produces captions, so it's there, but is it accurate? And I have not yet heard of a lawsuit where inaccurate captions were the cause of the lawsuit. Again, it's fairly inexpensive to get them done. So if it's a really critical video for you or for your company, I would consider doing that. But I don't know that, depending on the industry you're in, I don't know that you need to take that as a major concern today. Now, by the end of next year, that might change. I saw another hand right here.
What's your advice to videographers who work with clients in a lot of these ways, but given the accessibility of phone and all these things that people can do on their own, what's your advice to videographers working in this landscape?
On how to get business and make money? Well, it's harder than it used to be, right? Because this has leveled the playing field and people can all create video. Some video sucks and some video is incredible. And I think the best way to do it, I hope, and it's what we've decided to do because we employ videographers and we do video, is to tell people the truth, right? And tell them, like, when they come to you and say, hey, I want to do a video for this purpose, I would say to them, then you should do it on your own with a phone, and you should get it done. And I support you in that. That's amazing. Good job. And then when they come to you the next time and say, I want to do video to like bring in more customers or for our big event or for a sponsorship, you need to say, that needs to be done well, and here's why, and here's how much it costs, and why.
And in the meantime,
the truth, I think.
The editing skills that go along with that are way more valuable than the, not to devalue videography, but the editing skills are the things that people absolutely have no idea about. They can point a phone at something, but they can't edit that into a cohesive video. Our timer just went off.
Yeah,
so.
One more question. I think we're done.
All right. Yes, sir.
Vertical or horizontal?
He says horizontal. I say vertical because I always want people to see my shoes. But that's me.
I'm in my 40s and I have grandchildren, so I may not be the person to ask that question.
Yeah.
It depends on the platform is the answer. I think Instagram is vertical and everything else is horizontal, but that's me.
So our company is evemaremedia.com. Sign up for the newsletter and we'll be sending out those lists of stuff you can order for a podcast studio, a video studio. Send us a question if you have anything. If you took a good picture, tweet it. If you took a bad picture, delete it. Thank you. And Sam, who gets the books? Videography.
Orientation? Oh,
ADA.
Perfect.
So those two people come up and fight over these books and come ask us questions.
When you fill out your speaker evaluations, best dressed and best looking, please. We appreciate it.
I'm both.